welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we've got a play review and it's on the new SBC What If Malcuit. Now we're going to be talking about all his in-game stats, how I think he feels in-game, whether you should do the SBC, obviously because a lot of the fodder players are quite high in price right now, so we're discussing whether it's worth it, whether it's not, whether you should stay clear, and other alternatives you could use in your ultimate teams. So without further ado, if you're new to the channel, subscribe if you want, leave a like on this video, and let me know down below if you have or are going to do Malcuit, and I'll be sure to respond. But let's just get straight into it. So he's not on the screen, but he is high medium work rates. So obviously he is going to be quite an attacking right back. Maybe in a 5-back he would suit that position quite a lot better. But into his in-game stats, 90 acceleration, 92 sprint speed. Now this is actually quite good. Obviously a lot of fullbacks you need to be fast now because obviously it's end game and a lot of the wingers are quite fast. So say you're using your Salahs, your Neymars, he's going to be able to keep up, especially if you put in some form of shadow or anchor on him. He will be able to keep up, which is always a positive, being able to keep up with the opposition's attackers. But the pace already is a massive dub. Now obviously the shooting and attacking stats don't really matter too much, so we won't really talk about them. Passing, his crossing is obviously good, his short passing is good, long passing is not quite as good. But obviously, like I said, he's an attacking fullback, so if you are attacking and you want to cross, because I know people do like the RBX or R1X crosses, that is quite nice. But obviously, like I said before, if you want to improve his passing with maybe a chemistry style, could be a good shout. Obviously, it depends how attacking you want to play him. I do like my fullbacks to have good passing stats, just because I like to play out the back, maybe get crosses in. Obviously, his crossing is good, so he did suit me. And what I found is he is good at the low-driven crosses, which is a plus. Obviously, you can see that I've not used any chemistry style on him, because I like to see what they need improving in game, and I would say his passing does need improving. But what I'm thinking probably, I'm probably going to use an anchor because, well, I'll talk about his physicals and defendings in a bit. But overall, his passing, I'd probably give like a 5 out of 10. Not the greatest, but obviously a fullback, you can't expect as good a passing as, say, a De Bruyne. Then into his dribbling, this is probably one of his biggest pros, in my opinion. His 86 agility, 84 balance was very good. You could tell. I would say he does feel like that, or if anything, he probably feels higher. He had good reactions, good ball control, 90 dribbling, which obviously I play quite attacking fullbacks. Yeah, so I do like to dribble around players with my fullbacks. I don't just like to pass it around the back. Play quite attacking. The 78 composure is obviously his lowest dribbling stat by far, but like you never really find your fullbacks on one-on-ones. But I would say his dribbling was one of the positives. Obviously the fits the meta, good agility, good balance, and everything else is perfect really, especially for a fullback. Now into his defending, one of the more important stats for a fullback, 81 interceptions. Now this was one of the cons for me. He was getting caught out quite a lot. Like his legs just didn't seem long enough. Like there was quite a few times where they played through ball and it almost looked like the ball went through him. I'm not sure if that's part of the game that I was playing or his card, but I am used to playing Tavernier. And obviously I'll talk about him in a bit compared to alternatives to him. But I do think Tavernier was a lot better defensively. Now his heading accuracy, 72. I didn't really notice that too much because obviously you never really play down the line in the air, needing your fullbacks to win headers. But obviously, like I would say, I would probably advise an anchor or a shadow on him just to improve all these stats. Defensive awareness 82 wasn't the greatest. Like I said before, with his high medium work rates, he was found quite high up the field, leaving his marker behind him, leaving the players through. So I did concede quite a few goals down their left hand side because of that. But obviously, like I said, with a shadow or an anchor, you should be able to quite easily solve that. And if you want to put your fullbacks, stay back all attacking, that would also help. Now, the 85 stand tackle and 85 slide tackle was quite good. he did win quite a few one-on-ones when tackling. I remember there was one game, especially when I played against Neymar, and he kept quiet for the first 60 minutes. And obviously we'll talk about stamina in a bit, but obviously in the final 30 minutes or so, he did get the better of him. But then into his physicals, 77 jumping, like I said, with the head inaccuracy, not too important for a fullback, especially if he's short already. 77 isn't the worst, but yeah, I don't really need to win many headers with him. 78 stamina now. This is probably one of the worst features about this card. Obviously, at this time of game, you want players with good stamina. Like, you don't really have many super subs for fullbacks. I'd say there have been, obviously, a lot of fullbacks. Look at Kleiber and Tavernier and Semedo, players like that do have obviously good cards, but they're not exactly substitutions you want to be making. So that was one of the cons that you need to be wary of. Strength 77 wasn't too bad. Obviously, like, think of Neymar's that most people use hasn't even got the most strength. So 77 strength for a fullback is all right. And then the 86 aggression. Now that did mean he was diving into tackles quite a lot. I'm sure you can. I try to stop it, but if I never controlled him, I would see Malcuit running quite high. Obviously with the line, but he would go towards people and be aggressive in his tackling. Would go and dive into players, which I thought wasn't very good, especially now, like I said, there's a lot of fast attackers, but this is when it comes back to the pace. He was able to catch up with some attackers. When he'd made a mistake, he was able fast enough to come back and recover his mistake. But onto his play traits, he hasn't got any, unfortunately. Maybe, what would be good? Now, outside of the foot trait wouldn't be bad. Obviously, I do cut in quite a lot with his right foot. To be able to use his outside of the foot would be nice. But overall, do I recommend this card? If you have the money and if you have the fodder, I would. But most of all, I would steer away from this card. Look at maybe getting, if you have Tavernier, he's definitely nowhere near as good. Semedo, I'd probably recommend more. Maybe looking at a João Cancelo and other players along those lines. Obviously, unless you are a big Florentina fan or a Malcuit fan, or you need a French or Serie A right back, he is obviously a man because there aren't many in that position. But overall, I wouldn't really go near this card unless you really want to or have to, as there are many other better options for a lot cheaper. Like, look at Semedo for only a couple K is a lot better card than this, and he more fits the meta. But yeah, like I said, if you let us know in the comments if you are completing this card or if you have, and your thoughts on it. Until the next one, peace out.